bodies on race cars. This is the performance enhancing concepts of wide bodies. Number 1, wheels and tires. But if the best part about wide bodies are wheels and tires, why can't we just put wheels and tires? I'll get to that in a minute, but first let's talk about the tires. So the first obvious improvement is the tire pressures. So when you run a standard 7-inch wide tire and at 35 psi, and you make it wider to say 10 inches, which is a typical size for a racing tire, you can lower the tire pressure to from 35 psi to 25 psi, and that will increase the size of your contact patch, which will give you more traction. Another benefit is the temperature of the tires. So when you're driving a race car, if you lock up the tires or if you spin the back tires from giving too much gas, you can very easily overheat the tires, and that will cause you to lose grip because they're outside of their normal operating temperature. So when you have the wider temperature, if you have the wider tires, you can it'll prevent the overheat. Another benefit is that the tire is larger. When a car is going around a racetrack, it lays down the rubber from the tire to the track really quickly. So one of the obvious benefit of having more rubber is that you can drive longer. For example, in a lot of races, tires will only last for maybe an hour at a time. So if you're doing a 3-hour long race, that's not good. But if you get a larger tire, you can mitigate those effects, basically. And that's it for tires. So moving on to the wheels, what you can do is you can increase the amount of offset, which will make the car wider. And when we make the car wider, it's essentially the same thing as lowering the center of mass, as you can see in this diagram over here. And that's basically all for wheels. Well, also if you have aftermarket wheels, even if they're larger, they might still be lighter than the stock one, if you get like a magnesium alloy or something. Number 2, aerodynamics. So now that we got these larger wheels and tires, they're sticking out from the fenders. Now when the air hits those tires, it's going to mess up the aerodynamics of the car. It's going to increase the amount of drag, and it could induce lift underneath the car, which will reduce the amount of traction. So what we can do is we can widen out the fenders, the side skirts, and the bumpers, and that will cover everything up. And now the uncontrolled air from drag now can become downforce. So what is downforce? Downforce is the air that presses down on the car as you drive. And during a race, we can adjust the front splitter or the rear wing to adjust the amount of traction on the front or the rear to improve the balance of the car, and you can make it easier to drive, and you can also make it faster. That's it. You're now an expert on wide bodies. In 2 weeks, I will be posting a follow-up video where I install a new wide body from DTM Fiberworks onto my E36. I'm happy with the quality of their work so far. I hope that it goes pretty smoothly putting it on. Every Tuesday I will be uploading a new video. Next week we're going to talk about Tesla, so that should be pretty interesting. Subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with everything Gets Faster, and I'll see you next week.